Greetings to the planet from the Hypnotic World Epicenter, Toronto, Canada. This is the Brain Software Podcast, episode 219, and I'm Chris Thompson. Today, NLP and hypnosis trainer Mike Mandel and I are going to tell you how easy it is to take charge of your health and your fitness, so stay tuned, Homo sapiens.
Disclaimer. Today, we're talking about health, fitness, and general wellness. We are not medical doctors, but are sharing things that, in our opinion, are useful and safe. But what the hell do we know? So check with your own doctor before doing anything we talk about in this podcast. Lucci.
And just after that, we put all the champagne to bed, so to speak. Then Bryce Morgan wheeled in a long, shining metal cart that was draped with a purple tablecloth, and all the chaps rushed over for the buffet. But when the cloth was whisked away, there was nothing on the table at all, which was unfortunate because the rumor Ron Miller thought it would be a scantily clad Lady Melbury. In any case, we settled back with a box of Cuban cigars and glasses of fine brandy, although there are actually rolled tubes of brown paper and crystal snifters filled with malt vinegar. And then Dennis Bryce Morgan stood up and asked, whatever happened to those Cuban cigars and French brandy we used to be able to get before the war?
We are not witches! So welcome to the very polar region of the Fitness Emporium, a man of stellar obsequiousness, the brightest lamp in the Gdansk, Poland halogen factory, and the Paul David Hewson of physical culture, Chris Thompson!
Paul Hewson, you gave me a Bono reference. That's freaking amazing, buddy. I love it. I don't think anyone has ever... I am the Bono of physical culture. I don't even know what that means, but it could be really fun. All right. So today we are here in this episode. It's January 13th, if this goes live according to schedule.
Right.
So you've probably been starting the new year with good intentions and maybe have already disappointed yourself. It's time to pull things back into high gear, and we're going to talk about fitness and health and 2023 being your best freaking year ever to transform your physique, your diet, your mental game, your energy, so you're not having to nap in the nappery all the freaking
like
time.
Jack the freaking napper.
Nothing wrong with power naps.
No,
but
let's do them all the time.
Talk about, we haven't talked about this for a little while. Let's talk about making your life awesome from a health and wellness standpoint, because you only got one body, you only got one life. Let's make something
very
good,
Chris. You're doing very well. I just want to mention one thing.
Thank you.
Over Christmas, my wife and I watched a film, an English film. I can't remember what it was even called, but it's a guy and a girl just meet and in London they're going from Marylebone Station to two different directions. She's going to her home. He's going to his home. She doesn't know he's a freaking Earl or something. And they decide to surprise each other. So they each get out of their train at the platform and run into the other train to surprise the person when they get off the other end. They wind up at each other's homes, which is very unfortunate. But the one thing is, so these two hilarious little African British kids, and when they see the guy walking through the street, they call him Gilet.
Gilet.
And I started laughing. They say, hey, Gilet. I thought, what the heck is Gilet? And they were calling him Gilet all the way through it. And Heather says to me, well, just put the the letters on the screen.
Oh yeah, turn the subtitles on.
Subtitles on, so we can see what how it's spelled.
Or whatever you call it.
Gilet, Gilet. And I Google it, and it's one of these puffy jackets with no sleeves, a vest you wear. You zip up the front. It's called a gilet. And then the father keeps calling the guy puffer jacket. And now it all makes sense. So I like it so much, you're going to hear me saying gilet quite a lot over the next few podcasts.
And we're going to come up with a name now, which is Gilet Puffer Jacket.
I like that a lot.
That's the name of a charcher.
Maybe I think we call Timothy
maybe
September.
Maybe you can enter this.
Well, enough of this hilarious banter. Anything to promote?
January 13th. Go to our website, check out the Architecture of Hypnosis under the events section. It's coming up in May. It'll probably be sold out pretty soon because I know people start making their travel plans in advance. Anyway, if you want to train with us for 5 awesome days in Toronto at our new freaking amazing venue. It's like a resort in the city of Toronto.
Pretty well is.
Not in the downtown area anymore. It's just going to be amazing. You're going to love it. Come check out the architecture of hypnosis.
We'll
That's
see you
it.
there, Gilet.
All right, let's talk about our think tank words. So we've got three.
Generated at random from the Savo Bukacek think tank.
Let's just go through
Ontario
it.
Science Center.
If you don't know what these think tank
FASTENER,
words are, then just go to an old
MARSH,
podcast.
Selenium. I checked
FASTENER.
because some people in North America say selenium, but the American
Selenium.
and the British are both selenium. It is the proper pronunciation.
Yeah, selenium, aluminum.
Aluminium.
Yeah, see, people who say selenium must also say millennium aluminium.
You know,
I don't know.
Paul Moyer, you know he used to say how he pronounced saliva, which is a word I hate anyway.
Saliva?
No, he got the A and the I transposed. He called it saliva.
Saliva.
Horrible. Okay, so fastener. We're going to fasten this gilet together with a good zip.
Yeah, fastener. Yeah, something that brings things together. So I think if you were to consider different concepts, a fastener might bring them together in such a way that you can use the whole package.
Beautiful.
All right.
Marsh. Now, a marsh to me it's where you can get bogged down. It's a wetland. Sometimes there's insects. Sometimes there's leeches. Ooh. But a marsh, it's not the place you want to go intentionally unless you're searching for marshmallows or unless you're searching for ledum palustra, which is a homeopathic medicine, marsh tea. Can you think of anything from Marsh? Peter Marsh was my art teacher in high school.
It's the short form of Marsha, which is my mother-in-law's name. So
nice.
Marsh. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's a way shortcut.
Now, selenium, of course, is an antioxidant.
Selenium is, yes, it's a metal.
It's toxic in large doses. So let's say that if you fasten things together on your gilet, your puffer jacket, and Marcia is there and sees you do it, she can advise you to take more selenium. This is all I got.
So selenium, I also think, when I think about selenium, I think about micronutrients. So you have actually, we're talking about health today, so it works out well.
Okay.
Think about small doses making big differences. With macronutrients, we have fat, carbohydrates, and protein. Those are called your macronutrients, right? And there are things you need in macro, i.e. large sizes. You eat a hamburger. You don't take a tiny pill with milligrams of protein in it.
Or even micrograms.
Or micrograms. But in the case of micronutrients, like selenium, like copper, like chromium, like vitamins and minerals, we are talking about...
like vanadium, like molybdenum.
We're talking about milligrams or perhaps micrograms.
Well, Chris, I take thyroxine hormone every day, and I have for years as a thyroid patient, probably close to 30 years. I take 175 micrograms
There
a day,
you go.
and it keeps me alive.
Think about that. Microgram means a millionth of a gram, and a gram... Usually, what is a teaspoon is typically about, like, say, 6 grams of sugar on a teaspoon, something like that. I don't know exactly what it is.
So it's way less than that.
So think a millionth of that, and then a fraction of that millionth. That's the amount of something that can make a massive difference metabolically or in a human body, in a brain, etc. And could, if it's something like fentanyl or whatever, I don't know what the doses are that would kill people, but it's not very much, right?
Right.
So
no, it's not very much at all.
Very little changes can make massive differences.
Yeah, especially with plutonium or thallium or something like that. You know what I just thought of?
Oh, that's a good point.
It's kind of cool. That's how my brain works. You're saying all these interesting things.
I know, I noticed I calibrated.
And my brain just came up with Puffer the Magic Jacket. Puffer the Magic Jacket, live by the sea.
Oh, sing that to your child.
Okay, now look. What about? We have an email came in. I said I would address this. This is serious. We're not dicking around for a moment. Time's up. We're dicking around
before
again.
we get into health and fitness. We're talking about
answering an email.
Death
question. Thanks. So this could be you if you don't pay attention. To this podcast.
Okay,
Mike. I'm a funeral director. I've noted the near hypnotic state of a congregation during a funeral service when the group is asked to remain still, focus on the casket, window, or whatever, urn, or close their eyes and think about the deceased. Can this be perfected and scaled up without seeming gimmicky to allow the group a deeper experience in facing and overcoming their grief and loss? Love to hear back. Certainly willing to sign up. Wanted to make sure it fits. Now, what he's saying is he has noticed that people go into trances at funerals when he's saying, let's all take a moment and think about poor Chris Thompson.
Well, for sure that's a hypnotic moment because we're caught up in emotions.
Right.
100% when you're in a deeply emotional state and then you start thinking about something and taking it inside, internals, right? You're definitely in trance. So could a funeral director turn that into an empowering moment? I would say absolutely. With a proper understanding of hypnotic language.
You have to intervene from the outside, though. Like, I'm going to make you, for my own funeral, many, many years from now, you're going to be the director of protocol for it.
Okay.
And I want you to ensure Can
I be the head of values?
No, I'm the head of values. I'll be deceased head of values. Right. But I want to be buried in an AC/DC shirt with a gilet over it. And I want you to remember, that's my last request.
That's how many references to the gilet. I love
Okay, that's good. We're going to stop now. So what do you say to him? Yeah, bro, you're already creating a hypnotic trance by this. You can make it stronger and even more effective by slowing your cadence of your voice as you ask them to do it. Remember, hypnosis and changing states requires time. So have people put into a feeling state. Say, as you think about him, let all the feelings erupt of what he meant to you. What a great guy he was.
Focus on all the positive.
All the positive
and
feelings.
Leave people with a nice positive suggestion about how they can take that with them forever. That is the gift of this person's existence in the world. You can turn this into a covert, conversationally hypnotic session that gives people a feeling of empowerment.
And since you're already noticing that this is happening, it's a very easy switch to make it something very empowering for them by using this, as Chris said, to layer in the positive suggestions.
Yeah, we're going to come up with a new course, Hypnosis for Funeral. No,
Hypnosis for the Dead.
You notice how we don't have things like that? We don't have a hypnosis for funeral directors, hypnosis for yoga practitioners, hypnosis for spin instructors.
I see a side hustle here.
It's the same freaking principles, no matter how you apply them. So if you learn the foundations, it'll work.
Yeah.
All right. That's a really cool question.
That's very good.
Now we talk about health and fitness.
These are the three major areas that we think you need to deal with for success in greater wellness, greater fitness in 2023 than you had in 2022.
Yeah.
Is that the year? Yeah, it will be 2023.
It will be 2023.
The first one is exercise. The second is diet. And the third is what makes our stuff different. It
is
is
mental game.
The mental game, buddy.
Yeah, we think about it like, here's 3 pens. This will work very nicely. So if you imagine, let's make a triangle for the camera. Equilateral triangle here out of these pens.
Okay,
the base, the blue one, that's your mental game, right? So if your head's not on straight kind of thing, it's going to be really difficult to have the exercise and the diet part down.
Yeah.
If you've got a screwed up set of beliefs about yourself, or you're in the wrong environment and people aren't supportive of you, all the usual stuff we're talking about on this podcast all the freaking time.
Yeah.
And Brado and Eddard and Duder and all those guys. Too. Yeah, those guys talk about that stuff too. But you get your mental game straight, okay? Then there's 2 other things you got to fix. Diet and your activity, your physical activity. What you do with your body and what you put in your freaking body.
That's it.
Pretty much those are the things, right?
And we believe fitness and health are actually really easy. You do not have to knock yourself out.
It's the selenium of change. You don't need much. Yeah.
That's very interesting because I thought you were going to say something stupid, but it was actually
no. It's true. I'm bringing in the 3 words.
Bringing them in, buddy.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to knock yourself out. And the one thing that I've learned from Chris that I think is amazing is and it's not his original thing. It comes from Johnny Yumzabo, but it's a whole thing that you don't have to exercise. Don't look to exercise as your means of weight loss or weight management. It's not the most efficient way.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So here, you're going to very quickly notice that this is happening. And for those of you audio only, we're doing the interleaved finger gesture.
While pushing the lower lip forward with the tongue.
Lower lip tongue thrust move, which just adds humor for us.
It does.
It doesn't actually mean anything.
It's pointless.
But here's the thing. Exercise will not generally do much to cause you directly to lose weight.
Correct.
It will instead create good cardiovascular fitness and muscle mass, especially if you're lifting
and a
your
little
body
bit of metabolic rate shift.
Yeah, it'll cause some metabolic shifts, but mostly exercise is about the condition of your body, not the weight of your body. Diet will control the makeup, the physical makeup of your body fat levels and stuff like that. So excess fat or reduction of that excess fat,
right? So
which so many people want. So you have those nice 6-pack abs and stuff. That's your diet. So how does this come into the interleaving finger gesture again for the audio listeners? Because they support each other. So if you eat properly so that you can lose excess body fat, do you think that might also cause you to form an identity statement like, I am a healthy eater, I'm a healthy person, I'm a fit person, therefore maybe you're more motivated to exercise instead of lie on the couch a little extra?
Oh, for sure. You're putting this at level of identity right away.
And if you're exercising, and that will build, let's say, muscle mass and cardio fitness, do you think that might also cause you to have a belief that, hey, I'm an exercising person, I'm getting stronger.
I should be eating better.
And maybe that will result in you making better eating decisions.
Yeah.
So they fit together. So in fact, it's kind of unfalsifiable to say that, I mean, I guess you could do clinical trials and stuff and force people to do all this different stuff, but it's on an individual basis, it's a bit unfalsifiable to say exercise doesn't cause weight loss. So I'll admit that we can't actually say that with 100% certainty, because is it the exercise or is it the beliefs that go along with the exercise that then result in your diet changing? And in studies, they would call those confounding variables, right? Because
confounding variables.
You can't control for that. How do you control for someone's beliefs in a study, right?
No.
It would be very difficult.
How are you going to measure?
So here's the easy answer. Just do them both.
Right. Do them both.
Exercise and
change
control what you put in your freaking mouth.
Because if you're living on Boston cream donuts, as enjoyable as it is, you're not going to make very good muscle tissue out of that. Now, we said exercise benefits. So increased strength, which of course is great. I like Farmer Martin Burns, the wrestler back in the days. Well, we're just going to sort of wing it. Back in the days when fitness, start again. Back in the days when wrestling was real. Oh, you mean it's not? Yeah, it's about as real
like actual
as the
competitive
Harlem
professional wrestling. You're not talking about...
No, I'm talking about catch wrestlers.
Yeah. Okay.
But the show and everything came out of it. Farmer Martin Burns and Frank Gotch and these guys were real wrestlers.
Yeah.
And Martin Burns, he said, physical fitness, I love this. He said it's the ability to save your own life in an emergency and the life of someone your size and weight.
Yeah.
In other words, you're in a burning building and someone passed out and they're your size and weight.
Could you throw them up on
over your shoulder and carry them out? Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that. Now, you'll get extra strength and cardiopulmonary fitness, because if you don't have the heart and the lungs to support this,
it's going to be very difficult. If you have the strength, but you never exert any duration of that strength,
you're not going to process VO2 max the oxygen properly.
You want both. You want to if you want to play with your dog in the backyard and run around and grab a ball and throw it, and you don't want to be out of breath and feeling like crap.
Well, exactly. And, I remember a guy we know, and I'm not going to say his name because he has an unusual name. And as soon as I name him, everybody will know who I mean. But I'll tell you over lunch.
Okay.
When I started doing combat conditioning years ago, was doing 200 Hindu squats and, 20 Hindu push-ups and fingertip push-ups, all this. I said, I've gotten in really good shape. Adam got me into it really quickly.
I remember that,
in like 20, 25 minutes, 4 times a week. I said, my heart rate's slow, my blood pressure is low. I said, I'm strong, I'm fast, and I'm very flexible as well. And I got good, checking your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, I think I knew. Some of you don't.
The point is,
he said to me,
it worked.
I said, check it out, bro. He said, well, it depends on what your fitness goals are.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
What would you have other than fit, lean, strong, fast, strong heart and lungs,
and this was a guy at the time who, very nice guy, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He was carrying a lot of excess weight at the time.
Yes.
He since has changed.
He has.
And his focus was on strength specifically. So heavy weights in the gym, bench presses, squats, things like that. And I think that was the defense mechanism. Well, it really depends on what your own goals are. Well, if your goals are to just be a big, beefy guy who couldn't run around a track without losing his breath, that's not good.
Not good.
Right? But that's fine. Everyone makes their own choice. We recommend you have nice, well-rounded goals.
Excellent.
So that you live an awesome life.
And that you're flexible, too. Your joints will thank you. You have lean body mass. But the thing that's great about it is if you do exercise regularly, and we'll look at some options here, you'll find that it will actually slow aging, because your body will be more oxygenated. Your systems will work better. The paradox is, if you overdo it, you'll age faster.
Okay, I'm going to propose a couple things. First of all, in a moment, I'm going to come back and make a point about age versus duration, because I want to offer, I think we've probably talked about this before, but I want to make this reframe very clear for people, because people are aging all the time. We can't stop it yet. I want to talk about age versus duration. Before I do, I want to say, okay, so we're going to go through maybe some mythology and also some recommendations that aren't our own. We got them from other experts around. First of all, we need to back up the claim. Why are we saying that you don't need a lot of time? We need to focus on that. And then we need to talk about some of the ideas around how to implement the exercise stuff, how to implement the dietary change stuff, and then reinforce it with the mental game and awesomeness.
Brilliant. So before you say that, the big picture is you have to get moving.
Yes.
So we're asking how much.
Yeah.
And how long? And we think you should start gently. And
you can incrementally. The principle of incrementalism. You don't have to go, oh, I've decided I'm going to be fit today. I'm going to start cycling for an hour a day.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be sore as
when you get out of the
crap.
hospital.
So here's the reframe I wanted to offer you all. Reframe of age versus duration. So how often do we hear, you and I, and you as listeners, oh, well, as we get older, we just get fatter. Oh, I can't do that. I'm too old.
We just slow down.
Yeah, when we get older, we put on weight. This happens, that happens. Oh, it's, why do you have arthritis or chronic pain or whatever the case is? Or, oh, I feel sore. Oh, it's because I'm older. Here's the thing. That's bull crap. It isn't about that you're older. I mean, obviously, in some cases, it could be. It isn't, think about it this way. It isn't that you are too old for the old result you used to have. Think about it instead of duration. Duration meaning time that has elapsed.
Okay.
Or timing, the elapsation of time? The elapsing of time?
The elapticon.
The elapticon. There you go. Oh, I love that. That's a great made-up word. The elapticon. As time elapses, you get a result from, so let's say you used to run around a lot as a kid. Now you're an adult and you have a nice job and you sit at an office all day and you go and you buy your food or somebody brings it to you in Uber Eats or wherever the case may be. And you have let a lot of time elapse
without moving.
Not doing the stuff that you would need to do to have the result that you used to have. It has nothing at all to do with age other than the fact that when time elapses, you get older.
Right. That's
aging is the confounding variable. It's not really confounding variable, but aging is just that comes along for the ride, always.
I always kind of cringe when it does, and I always cringe when you say elapse because elapse is Bushmaster snake venom.
Oh, elapticon is our new word,
this
though.
This is interesting. And what you said, it's how long you haven't done something is the problem.
So start doing it again. Then when time elapses, you have it on your freaking side, right?
Brilliant. And of course, once you get into this, you have to be able to rest because people don't understand. It's when you do good, intense exercise, moderately intense exercise, it's during the rest time that your body rebuilds. My martial arts master years ago, he sprained his ankle and it was chronically sprained because he wouldn't rest it.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't want to have to. And he just kept re-spraining it because he wouldn't take a break.
I want to, I don't know if I told you this, but I talked with our friend, Dr. Richard Nongard on Zoom about 2 or 3 days ago. And so he shows up on Zoom. He's just gotten back from, I think he was in Kuala Lumpur. He was on a big trip, so he was massively jet lagged because from the United States to Asia and back, and he was there for 6 days. So he was feeling really tired. But I looked at him, I said, Richard, you look phenomenal. He goes, dude, 57 pounds lighter.
In 6 days?
No, not in 6 days.
Bloody hell.
So when we saw him in Las Vegas in August, now
He was already trimming down in Vegas.
Yeah, I have no idea how old he is. I'm going to guess in the 50s, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But he'd put on more weight than he wanted to, clearly. When we saw him in Las Vegas, he'd already lost 30 pounds.
Right.
So I haven't seen him on Zoom or in person until that call 2 days ago. And now he's not down 30 pounds. He's down 57 pounds.
That's a whole dress
well, what are
size.
you doing? He basically described what Vinny Tortorich calls no sugar, no grains, right?
Yeah.
I stopped eating bread and other grain-based foods. I stopped putting sugar in. I stopped any sweet sauces and other kind of junk like that. And I stopped eating anything with vegetable oil and other crap in it. Oh, so basically you're eating real food. So how much time does it take to eat? The same amount of time it took to eat crap, you can eat healthier foods, and you'll end up eating less and doing less damage to your body, and you'll lose weight. So that's what resulted in the weight loss. On top of that, he's walking something like 3 miles twice a day.
Good grief.
And it's easy to walk. You could throw, like our colleague Timothy September, he has a little treadmill under his desk, and he'll walk while we're doing a Zoom meeting, right? And I started taking a cue from that, and I'll ride my Peloton bike while on a Zoom meeting. It's a lot of fun, actually. You get a lot done.
I think people underestimate the value of walking.
Move regularly. Just if all you do is move your body more, and this is what Mark Sisson, who is from the Primal Blueprint, he wrote that book, and Mark's Daily Apple, I think, is his blog.
That's him, yep.
You were the one who got me onto Mark Sisson stuff, and he's about your age.
He is
and he's
my
in
age,
amazing shape.
Yep.
And he says, move regularly, i.e. walking.
Lift something heavy.
Lift heavy things.
Yeah.
and sprint once a week kind of thing. Now, you could leave out the sprinting part if you don't want to be ridiculously athletic. But if you just do if you simply do the move regularly, i.e. Richard, our friend, walking 3 miles a day or whatever the case may be, parking your car further away, walking across longer parking lots, move. Okay? Doesn't take any extra time, really. Lift heavy things. Get the book Body by Science by Dr. Doug McGuff, and you will understand after reading just a few chapters that in like 12 minutes a week, you can get really good muscular
Isn't that
strength.
Insane? 12 minutes.
So there's no excuses for that.
What a far cry this is from the original Ken Cooper, who wrote Aerobics and talked about VO2 max. And I was a runner. Chris knows I was a runner at one point. I took it up in my 30s. Found out I was a natural runner, had the right body shape and structure for it. And I worked up to, I was doing miles, not kilometers. I was running 6 miles 4 times a week.
So that's like, that's about 10 kilometers.
Yeah, 10 kilometers 4 times a week. And interestingly, I started doing body weight exercise when I got into Matt Fury's combat conditioning.
Yes, Adam
200
got you into
Hindu
that.
squats, fingertip push-ups, stuff like that. And I had a trotter treadmill that was health club quality. Level 10 was for Olympic athletes only.
Yeah.
And
you used to go at what level?
Level 5. I couldn't get past level 5 no matter what I did, no matter how much I ran. I took a month off running and just did my Hindu squats and everything fast.
Hindu squats, Hindu push-ups, and I think you had an issue with your back.
My neck. So I had to bridge over a ball. Anyway, I just did this 4 or 5 times a week, and I was doing it with the running at first. Then I stopped the running. And after about a month, 5 weeks, I thought, I'm going to come back and see if I can still do level 5.
And how was level 5 for you then, Mike?
I did level 6. Because I hadn't been running. I could suddenly do level 6.
Right.
So all that to say, instead of these long aerobic workouts 4 times a week, I was getting the same benefits doing these fast body weight exercises.
Yeah. And you know, if you're the type of person who, because you have to do exercise that you will actually do. If we say, oh, it's a good idea to get out on that bike and ride or run or whatever, unless you get to the point where you enjoy it, you probably won't do it.
You won't stay with it.
So what can you do that will never seem like a big deal? Well, walking a lot, just walking more is easy. It never makes you feel out of breath.
For sure. And you know, travelogues. You know, my wife and I have done traveling. I spent 42 years on the road driving trains, planes, automobiles, car ferries. We only want to go up to our cabin and back. Well, here's how she exercises. She does some body weight stuff and some light weights, kettlebell, whatever. But she has an exercise bike, not the expensive one. She has a Schwinn. It's quite nice. Puts on our TV a travelogue. And so she'll just be riding her bike through Switzerland or Spain or whatever. And it's easy to work into her life. It feels like something pleasant instead of a drudgery.
All right. Now, we're already at the halfway or half hour. We're already 30 minutes into this podcast.
All right, buddy.
I want to make sure. So let's maybe shift gears. We've talked enough about the exercise component. Food. What you want. We're probably not going to have time to dive into all the exercises that you can do. So body weight strength. Let's just say there are so many people that you can learn how to do basic bodyweight strength training from.
I said Matt Fury's great.
We'll put some links in the show notes. I'm gonna link to our friend Jerry Teixeira on YouTube because he's got an amazing YouTube channel about bodyweight strength training.
Okay,
and so we'll make sure he's the guy I want to plug. He's fantastic, such a smart guy. Let's talk about the food piece for a few minutes.
All right, now let's start with what you said.
Because it's really important to weight loss.
The no sugar, the no grains.
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference.
Right. So Vinny Tortorich talks about no sugar, no grains, NSNG. That's the trademark term he uses. And I always say, and he doesn't include this in the acronym, but he says it all the time, no vegetable oils. So all the fake crap. Yeah. So if you think about what makes a food company fat, their wallet, metaphorically speaking, makes you fat.
Yeah.
So grains like wheat and corn and those are the two big ones, really.
Yeah, corn is a grain. It's not a vegetable.
Corn are your big one. Yeah, you got to understand, corn is not a freaking vegetable, guys. It's a grain, okay? So when you make flour out of it, that is a grain. That is 100% glucose when it breaks down, i.e. sugar in your bloodstream. Your blood can only hold like 1 teaspoon worth of sugar at a time. Beyond that, your body's going to release insulin to get it the heck out of your bloodstream.
Because it's dangerous if it goes too high.
It has to push it either into your muscles or excrete it or use it, right? Or store it, turn it into fat, use it in the muscle, excrete it. Those are basically some of your options, or you die. That's metabolic control, right? And biochemistry in the body. So if you eat a lot of this crap, you have to deal with it. Your body has to deal with it. So that's where no sugar, no grain comes in. And then with the vegetable oil thing, that really just is about, there's a lot of inflammation. There's a lot of omega-6,
which is inflammatory. And with the grains as well, I'm super sensitive to wheat, and I've developed this over the years. I love wheat, I love bread, I love pizza, but I limit myself now to having it one day a week.
Yeah, which is Friday, right?
I'll have a sandwich because I like toast or bread or whatever.
Because we still like the flavor of it.
But if I do it once a week, I don't suffer. If I have it 2-3 days in a row, my joints, I get out of bed, I feel like I'm 100 years old.
And then you're not in a pressure cooker situation, because we often talk about
Never again.
Yeah, if you're talking about, turning someone who's drinking too heavily into a social drinker so they can still enjoy themselves. They don't have to think like, oh, well, I'm an alcoholic, therefore I must never touch it again. No, if their brain is happy believing, no, I'm comfortable being a social drinker, I don't overdo it, and that's great. No pressure cooker situation. Same thing with diet, right? Now, fine, and I'm going to hand this back to you to guide the rest of the conversation. I want to make sure this is really clear. So we talked about no sugar and no grain, and the reason why, because they're essentially refined carbohydrates that just promote you to overeat. But the magic with the vegetable oil thing is, so two things. First of all, vegetable oil doesn't come from vegetables. It's actually better called solvent extracted seed oil.
That sounds
because
horrible.
It generally comes from seeds like soy, canola, aka rapeseed,
and grapes,
and grapeseed.
Grapeseed oil.
Yeah, but the other big common one is
rapeseed oil, canola,
corn oil, soybean oil, and canola oil. Right, corn, canola, soy. Those are the three. They come from seeds. They're very bad for you in the opinion of many smart doctors. But here's the beautiful thing. No one eats those oils on their own, right?
Right.
You don't go, oh, I want some canola oil.
They have a cup of canola,
or soybean oil. And nobody goes, oh, I'd like to eat a bowl full of flour. Disgusting. But guess what happens when you, or even sugar, like no one's going to sit down, think about it.
With a bag of sugar and a spoon.
Would you take your glass and fill it up with some sugar and just start eating?
Yeah, watching TV.
That would not be appealing. But what happens when you put those things together? What happens when you put flour together with sugar, together with some fat, like a vegetable oil? What do you get? Boston cream donuts, Mike. That's what you get.
Oh, man.
Canadian maple donuts. Ooh, my personal favorite. Cupcakes, butter cakes. Oh, my now deceased grandmother, who we called Nana, we called it Nana cake. It's basically like pound cake with this wonderful icing.
So she was trying to kill the family.
Well, we didn't know any better at the time. But here, when you combine all that crap together, okay, you get what a lot of people will call a food-like product, aka it's junk food, whether you bought it in the form of a Snackwell or healthy this or that, it's crap, or whether you made it in your own kitchen.
It's still crap.
It's still crap.
Yeah.
So when you combine carbohydrates and fats together, you get what my dad taught me many years ago is called obesogenic. It makes you want to eat more and you will get fatter.
Oh, man. Well, we've all had that when you have sweets and you have, bread and stuff. An hour later, you're starving again because your blood sugar spiked, the insulin's taking it down, and now your body's going, you need food again. Oh, let's go back for more
Plus, there's the whole, there's the carbohydrate insulin model that people talk about, and we don't know if it's correct or not. But then there's also the food reward hypothesis, which is the more delicious and appetizing something is, the more you're going to want to keep eating it. And it seems to be quite magical, and I don't mean this in a good way, that when you mix the sugars and the carbs and the fats, you get delicious keep eating pizza and donuts and all that. All right. So, you want to get rid of that and eat real food instead.
Stay off the inflammatory stuff. We're going to close with the mental game. And we're going to start with self-hypnosis. Do you know what self-hypnosis is? A tool you can learn. You can eliminate a lot of these problems by changing your food cravings, by increasing your desire to exercise. It's remarkably easy to do.
Yeah, it is really easy to do. We have a whole course called Easy Self-Hypnosis. I'll give you 2 ways, well, there's 3, but the 2 best ways to access our course on Easy Self-Hypnosis. Number 1, you subscribe to the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy right from our homepage, and you can join. As soon as you join as a paid member of MMHA,
you got access.
The Easy Self-Hypnosis is included. So is the anxiety solution. So is the architecture of change. So is a bunch of other stuff. But easy self-hypnosis is included. The other way, if you're not interested in learning to be a hypnotist, go to our personal growth membership. It's a few dollars a month. It's really not expensive at all. It's about $1 a day, basically. Anyway, easy self-hypnosis is one of many courses included, including our Full Wellness Academy, which is where all this came from, is we started learning this stuff like almost 10 years ago and realizing how powerful it was. And
I'm not looking at my watch. I'm checking my heart. Check my heart.
Yeah. That's okay. You're checking your pulse, radial pulse. So we learned all this stuff a long time ago, and we decided to put together the Wellness Academy. That's all included in the personal growth membership, which is like $1 a day. So
it's a bit high for me right now. It's 60.
You don't have to buy anything to do this. We're just giving you some suggestions if you do want more from us and more direct involvement with us. But you can learn a ton of this all on your own. I'm going to tell you 2 things. So exercise, we promised in the show notes. I'm going to link to JT's awesome YouTube channel. For diet and all that stuff, we're going to throw up a link to the Low Carb MD podcast with I'm pointing at the camera like I'm angry.
Yes.
Dr. Tro Kalayjian,
fabulous,
who was a guest on a recent, not recent actually, but
a while back.
Tro Kalayjian, first doctor we've ever had on our podcast, and Dr. Brian Lenskis. Those 2 doctors run that podcast, and those guys are phenomenal. Okay, so
didn't Tro lose something like 150 pounds?
Tro lost more than 150 pounds. His wife also, I don't think he ever talks about, but they both went through massive transformations. He was borderline morbidly obese. I mean, he said that himself. His wife, who has radically transformed, she, I guess, just wasn't where she wanted to be, but both of them started eating essentially ketogenic diet, which means they radically reduced carbohydrate intake. And she even started a company to help people. Now, he's very clear about this. He doesn't think you should go out and start buying keto snacks and all this other stuff. But if it gets you over a hump, if you are going to be traveling and you know there's going to be an issue and you want something that is healthier, it shouldn't be part of your regular diet. That's what his wife is doing, and it's really cool.
Right. I remember packing almonds and cheese sticks and stuff when I had flights.
So in a nutshell, you got your mental game, you got your diet, which doesn't take you any extra time to just change what you're putting in your mouth, and you got your exercise piece, which means move more, lift your body once in a while, and start identifying with that.
And start building in new patterns. And the more you do the new patterns, you stop eating after 7 p.m. Just stop. Things like that. The more you build them in, the longer you do them, the more they become ingrained as habits, which is what you want. Chris, we have an empowering question here, because empowering questions are a great way to deal with this stuff.
So here's how we're going to end the podcast. Empowering question and then our ending. So ask yourself, now that 2023 is here, what will I do right now to begin to make the sort of healthy changes in what I eat and how I exercise and how I think to maximize my life in this year and beyond?
Bro, I think we just end it there.
That was a tight 40 minutes, man.
That was a tight 40 minutes.
All right.
Do it. It works.
Yeah,
Make this a great year for your own health.
I want to challenge you. Please do, when you're on YouTube, drop a comment for this podcast. Let us know what you think and what you're doing and how this resonates with you. And you can also email us, of course. If you email info@MikeMandelHypnosis.com, that goes to both of us. If you use just Mike at, it goes to Mike, and Chris at, it goes to Chris.
Just do info.
But use info, because then we both get it. We'd love to hear your thoughts and make your life awesome.
Thanks again.
And good night.